In the headlines, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria sues for calm, reassures banks will remain open to address naira scarcity crisis. APC National Chairman Adamu to hold emergency meeting with party governors on Sunday amid naira crisis. Police arrest female gunrunner, 7 others in Zamfara. And on the foreign scene, Ghanaian footballer Christian Atsu's body found under rubble as death toll tops 45,000 in Turkey-Syria quakes. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. The Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN, says it is liaising with a body of bank CEOs to address the current challenges caused by the cash swap and scarcity of the redesigned banknotes. President and Chairman of the Council, CIBN, Ken Okpara, disclosed this in a statement on Saturday in Lagos. He said the banks will continue to remain open to serve the public as long as it was safe to do so. And he appealed to the public to remain calm and eschew any acts of violence, adding that the banking industry remained resolute and committed to finding ways to address all the related issues. Several commercial banks have been attacked by alleged bank customers, with protests recorded in different states across the country over the scarcity of the redesigned denominated banknotes. Currency scarcity occasioned by the Naira redesign policy is taking a toll on small businesses in Abuja. Trust TV's Kabir Lawal, who spoke to skillful workers on how they are coping with the cashless policy that made it difficult for people to feed themselves and their families.
Since the release of new Naira notes into circulation, many businesses suffered from scarcity of new notes. But matters became worse when other businesses refused to collect the old notes, leaving people with no option other than using electronic payment platforms or the new Naira notes that are increasingly difficult to get. While many believe that it is just a matter of time, some said the policy has made them lose customers.
It's been really tough, man. I think these days we are really getting it tough in the sense that it's still affecting our work and businesses. Weekend like this, normally people full here, but nowadays they are scanty because of the scarcity of cash.
This morning, I went to POS to collect 1,000 naira. I swear to God who made me. There's no money. I'm grounded totally. People came to do transfer, to withdraw the money. It's not available. They are creating avenue for people to buy food. Are you telling me now, if I remain like this till election day, somebody will come to me, I will not collect money? They are creating somebody that doesn't feed well, and you see somebody that bring money to him, they will collect.
It don't affect me now. It don't affect me well now.
How?
So I know there's a business know that if you give person account number, you know if you transfer for me now. Because network there now.
Because there are no money floating as it flowed before. Before somebody buy 100 naira, give 100 naira, or buy 1,000, give 1,000. But now has to transfer. You're not able to get a back account. They are affecting me.
They complained that the electronic transfer often failed due to network issues, thereby rendering their businesses helpless.
Most of my customers come, they are requesting for transfer. In as much as I still collect the transfer, though the network don't seem to be effective on it.
This clothes, I bought it to transfer money. The owner just released the clothes to me based on personal integrity, because the person knows me. I carry somebody, customer, to the shop to buy clothes, to do transfer. The network is not available. So in fact, everything just, maybe the government are confused. I don't know.
Small business owners want governments to make the new notes available to make life more meaningful to Nigerians. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The All Progressives Congress has summoned an emergency meeting of all governors elected under its platform. A statement issued by the party's publicity secretary, Felix Moka, on behalf of the national chairman, says the meeting will hold at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja on Sunday by 2 p.m. The meeting may not be unconnected with the ongoing Naira crisis in the country, where the governors have gone on confrontation with President Muhammadu Buhari over the Naira redesign policy that is impoverishing the masses and putting the party in bad light in the public. It is believed that Sunday's meeting is meant to make the hardline governors who took the presidency to court over the policy to shift ground and probably withdraw the case against Buhari and the CBN at the Apex Court. And barely 1 week to the forthcoming presidential election, a spokesman for the Tinubu-Shettima Presidential Campaign Council, Bayo Onanuga, has insisted that his principal deserves the support of President Muhammadu Buhari. The statement is contained in a post via his Twitter handle on Saturday. Onanuga noted that Tinubu campaigned vigorously for Buhari during the 2015 presidential election, adding that Buhari should do the same for Tinubu now that he is running for president. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission says all is in place to conduct the February 25th and March 11th, 2023 national elections. National Commissioner supervising Delta, Cross River and Edo States, Rhoda Gumus, gave the assurance while inspecting some election materials in Asaba. And barely a week from Nigeria's general elections, concerns are being raised about the safety and protection of journalists during the polls. Stakeholders believe there is a pressing need to strengthen election security and have urged media stakeholders to equip journalists with skills to protect themselves, insisting that the security of journalists remains one of the burning national issues. They are urging all tiers of government to refrain from implementing restrictions on the freedom of expression. These stakeholders are advocating for the adoption of a legal and regulatory framework which would foster the development of a free and independent media.
During elections, there is a great task to make sure that it is as free and fair as possible. And the job that is bestowed on media practitioners across this country cannot be overemphasized. Now, that also makes them a target to those people who believe that they're not giving reportages that are in consonance with the kind of image they're trying to send out there, which makes sure that those who are really doing their jobs sometimes are just put in harm's way. Now, the 1999 Constitution as amended has given every journalist the right to be able to perform their jobs without molestation or without being harassed unduly.
The media actors should be able to do their job without the fear of being hunted down. So that means they need to be, their psychological frame has to be very free. They have to be kind of confident that what they want to do at this important time in the Nigerian electoral history is very, very secure.
I think it's very important for the press to have true freedom, especially this period of election. As much as we do know and believe that it's also very important for the media to ensure that they carry verified and verifiable news, but the regulatory agencies, on the other hand, too, should be able to give them the freedom to inform, educate people as much as possible without fear of being sanctioned because they're not playing to their tune.
You're watching Trust TV News Update, and still ahead. Students beg Osun government to rehabilitate school. Details of this and more after the break. Stay with us.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now let's take another look at our top stories. Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria sues for calm, reassures banks will remain open to address naira scarcity crisis. And APC National Chairman Adamu to hold emergency meeting with party governors on Sunday amidst naira crisis. And moving on to other news now, specifically security, the police in Zamfara State have arrested a female gunrunner who specializes in supplying arms and ammunition to bandits operating in the state. The spokesperson of the State Police Command, Muhammad Shehu, made this known while addressing newsmen at the police headquarters in Gusau on Friday. Shehu said the woman, Fatima Sani, was arrested following an intelligence report that she was bringing arms and ammunition to bandits in Zamfara State from Lafia town in Nasarawa State. He stated on the 13th of February 2023, police detectives arrested the suspected female gunrunner in possession of 325 rounds of live ammunition following the intelligence information obtained about her movement with the said exhibit from Lafia in Nasarawa State to a notorious bandits kingpins operating in the Zamfara forest. During interrogation, the suspect confessed to have been into the business and that she had earlier supplied 3 AK-47 rifles and 1,000 rounds of AK-47 live ammunition to bandits operating within Zamfara. Now to Osun State, where secondary school students in the state have decried the dilapidated state of infrastructure in some public secondary schools. Checks around some schools in the capital reveal that the situation remains a serious source of concern for many students. At NUD Grammar School in Oshogbo, the students said their classrooms are not in good condition for learning and appealed to the state government to rehabilitate the school. Hamid Oyegbadi reports.
Established in 1980, Nawairudin Grammar School, located at Okebale in Oshogbo, has produced countless successful individuals from all walks of life. But the 42-year-old school has received little government attention over the years, a situation both current as well as the old students of the school are worried about.
There was a total neglect by the state government in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of maintenance of the school, even in terms of staffing.
Among the issues the students want addressed are the condition of their classrooms, which they said is not conducive for learning, as well as the provision of perimeter fence for the school to stop invasion by hoodlums.
Infrastructure in our school is very bad now. As you can see, the classrooms are not conducive for learning. There are no windows and enough chairs for the students. So we appeal to the state government to please renovate our school.
The situation in our school is very bad. The school buildings are not good at all. See how the school buildings are. So if we appeal to the government, if they can help us to renovate our school.
The school environment is porous and exposes students to danger. We want the state government to fence the school and rehabilitate buildings.
We want government to please provide us chairs, table and other items to make learning conducive for us.
The school is open for a timely intervention by Osun State government in order to save the remaining infrastructure from total collapse. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
Now, earlier we told you that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says all is in place to conduct the February 25th and March 11th, 2023 national elections. The National Commissioner supervising Delta, Cross River and Edo States, Rhoda Gumus, gave the assurance while inspecting some election materials in Asaba. The report.
The inspection exercise is part of activities geared towards ensuring that no stone is left unturned to give Nigerians a free and fair poll. During the inspection, INEC officials were seen configuring the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS in readiness for the elections. After the inspection, she is convinced that INEC will deliver on its promise of credible elections in the country.
Being on a meeting, seeing everything that is in place, and I'm very, very glad that we are ready for the election.
The Delta State Resident Electoral Commissioner Monday Udom on his part reveals that 305,245 voter cards have not been collected in Delta State.
For the new cards, it was very impressive. We had over 85% collection. We had 357 cards that came for new. And if we had collected 80-something%, you can do that mathematics. I know that only about few cards were not, few thousand of cards were not collected. Then for transfers, that was wonderful. Over 90% of transfers were collected. The only one we had issues were the old cards left over 2019 election. We had only 20% collection in that card. And we had 244,000 of that card that were left over, and only about 20% of that were collected by the close of 5th of February when we closed the collection of PVC.
Chairmen of participating political parties in Delta State alongside security agencies also inspected sensitive election materials secured at the CBN branch in Delta State.
We have been in there. We have seen some materials. I think we have the presidential, we have the senatorial body. We have the presidential and senatorial body reps. Materials are not here yet, but they have promised us that before the end of the week, that the rep materials are going to arrive. We have not counted. All we did now is to see that the process is ongoing. The materials and the hope of election is very clear and clear.
Despite apprehension in some quarters, the Commission is positive that the elections will be held as scheduled.
And now to Bauchi State, where victims of sexual abuse and gender-based violence and other offences get succor in the state after the state government unveiled the implementation of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law and others. The launching of the new laws was conducted during a press conference held at the NUJ Secretariat, Bauchi State Council. Adam Imam has more.
State Chief Judge Justice Rabi Talatu Umar, represented by the Chief Registrar Barrister Sublim Emmanuel, lamented over the delay in the dispensation of justice and congestion of dockets of the courts in the correctional centers.
Amendment since 30th September 1960, when it was signed into law. It appears no one ever saw the need to review that law. Some latest figures will give us an idea of where we are as a state in the administration of criminal justice in Bauchi State. From our records in the Central Registry of the High Court, where cases are registered and assigned to magistrates and district courts within Bauchi Metropolis, shows that from January 2021 to from January 2021 to December 2021, we recorded 567 civil cases, while 1,232 criminal cases were registered, out of which 219 cases were GBV cases.
She said the journey to the signing of the laws was not easy, pointing out that in the case of administration of criminal justice law and the repeal laws, when assented, were said to be existing laws only in the statute books. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Abubakar Mohammed, represented, says the VAP law is punishable under the new law, practice of forced marriage, as well as other harmful traditional practices.
There is the need for us to put a stop to that. And the only way we can put a stop to the rampant rape that is happening now is by prosecuting those that committed the offenses. And we cannot successfully prosecute them without having witnesses to establish the evidence before the court. Otherwise, once an appeal is made, the decision will be rushed.
They, however, said the elimination of delay and series of adjournment on cases have also been taken care of. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And now for a look at the foreign scene, where UN Chief Antonio Guterres on Saturday called for Africa to take action for peace to combat rising violence as the continent's leaders held their annual summit in Addis Ababa. The African Union meeting aims to address issues of conflict, insecurity and violence and jumpstart a faltering free trade pact. Most of the sessions at the two-day summit will be held behind closed doors at AU headquarters in the Ethiopian capital. But eyes will be on the bloc to see if it can achieve ceasefires in the Sahel and in the eastern DRC, where the M23 militia seized swaths of territory and sparked a diplomatic row between Kinshasa and Rwanda's government, which is accused of backing the rebels. At a mini-summit on Friday, leaders of the seven-nation East African community pushed for all armed groups to withdraw from occupied areas in the eastern DRC by the end of next month. Guterres met with several African leaders on Friday, including Rwandan President Paul Kagame, to discuss in particular the crisis in the Congo. And in sports, Ghanaian footballer Christian Atsu has been found dead under the building where he lived in southern Turkey after last week's massive earthquake. The ex-Chelsea winger's agent said Atsu has been scheduled to fly out of southern Turkey hours before the quake. But Hatayspor's manager said on Friday the Ghanaian opted to stay with the club after scoring the game-winning goal in the February 5th Super League match. The 31-year-old secured Hatayspor's 1-0 win over Kisimpasa by scoring the only seconds before the final whistle. Meanwhile, the death toll from Syria and Turkey earthquakes tops 45,000, with many still missing. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.